Bonjour mon petit chifflet Henry. Here we are again. It's been over a year since my first Dark Academia reading vlog, and before I was even finished that one, I knew I would be doing the second one. I am just so intrigued by this subgenre, and I'm finding myself looking at every newly released Dark Academia book, wondering if it will make it into a future dedicated vlog. In this vlog, I will be reading In Education and Malice by S.T. Gibson, Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, Immortal Dark by Tigist Girma, Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas, and These Violent Delights by Micah Nimmerever. Welcome to January.
Yes, I am dressed as a Christmas tree over a week after Christmas, and what of it? Yes, I am dressed as a Christmas tree on New Year's Day. Mind your business. There is a star at the top. I'm a star! Sorry. Anyway, this isn't what I thought would be included in the looks served in a Dark Academia vlog, but here we are. This is not how the first clip. We're starting off strong. My God. I am not as organized as I'd like to be starting this vlog. I'm so sorry. I know you can hear that shaking. Pretend to be shocked. I don't have all the books that I plan to read this month. Partially because, well, mostly because I am supporting the Amazon strike. So any books on my TBR that I need, I will have to go to the bookstore myself to purchase. That being said, I do have the first book that I plan to read. Obviously, I'm gonna have to put that down. Hold on. I've had it since the last Dark Academia vlog, and I just never got, it was one of the ones I didn't get around to. I will be starting this TBR, this vlog. I will finally be reading Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I still don't know a ton about this book. I've somehow managed to keep it that way since I've owned it and been planning to read any sort of Dark Academia book. It's kind of like what I know I said this for when I originally read Black Sun, and I don't remember the other book I said this about, that every time I read the synopsis, I immediately forget. I know this one takes place in a house. I don't remember if, I don't know if it's like a house that changes, or I think, yeah, it's like a labyrinthine. The house is basically like a labyrinth, and there's only one other person that resides in the house with Piranesi, and he enlists Piranesi's help in research for something or other. But I am super excited. It's almost 11:30 at night, but I do still plan to start this book tonight because I wrote it down on my to-do list, and if I don't do it, it's going to bother me. I also have available to read until I get to the bookstore. Hopefully I will get to the bookstore within the next couple of days. I have An Education in Malice by S.T. Gibson, and I have the Immortal Dark by Tigist Girma. Unfortunately, I've heard mixed things about both of these books, so it's a little bit daunting. Really kind of disappointing for this because A Dowry of Blood is such a masterpiece, and I've heard so many mixed things. I think this one is, I'm yelling, is like a take on Carmilla, which I actually did read in October. I listened to the audiobook in October. Couldn't really tell you what happened, except it was real sapphic. That'll be really interesting again, which is kind of disappointing because A Dowry of Blood is a take on Dracula, or inspired by Dracula. It's told through the POV of Dracula's wives, and it was so incredible. So I've heard people say that they almost don't recognize this as an S.T. Gibson book. And, huh? What do you mean by that? Is this the one that has a polyamorous relationship in it? Or is that Evocation? I don't remember. I've heard mixed things about this one as well. No. It's not this one. I'm sorry. It's not this one. It's An Academy of Liars by Alexis Henderson, which is also on my TBR for the month, which also sucks because I love Alexis's other two books. I love Year of the Witching. I really enjoyed House of Hunger. What is going on with books these days? Oh, am I laying down? Okay. I'm gonna go because I am tired, and like I said, I want to start Pure Nessie, and I still have some like bullet journal things I need to do. Already starting off strong. Welcome to part 2 of my dark academia journey. Was part 1 this messy? It's not gonna stay messy. It's not gonna stay messy. I have faith in myself.
Deep in the forgotten hills of Massachusetts stands St. Perpetua's Women's College. Isolated and ancient, it is not a place for timid girls. Here, secrets are currency, ambition is lifeblood, and strange ceremonies welcome students into the fold. On her first day of class, Laura Sheridan is thrust into an intense academic rivalry with the beautiful and enigmatic Carmilla. Together, they are drawn into the confidence of their demanding poetry professor, De La Fontaine, who holds her own dark obsession with Carmilla. But as their rivalry blossoms into something far more delicious, Laura must confront her own strange hungers. Tangled in a sinister game of politics, bloodthirsty professors, and magic, Laura and Carmilla must decide how much they are willing to sacrifice in their ruthless pursuit of knowledge. This is An Education in Malice.
One day. Hello, good afternoon. So I'm currently reading An Education in Malice, and by that I mean I have about 50 pages left of An Education in Malice and have not spoken about it at all. I'm on page 300 of 356, I believe. And the reason I really haven't spoken is because I really don't have much to say. I don't really have many thoughts on this. And unfortunately, I believe that this is a book that once I finish it, I'm going to forget absolutely do I ever really remember anything that I read? But truly, I'm going to forget anything that happened or anything that I felt reading this. Positives, it is a quick read. It's really quick. I've really flown through the story. S.T. Gibson really does obsession well and obsessive sapphic vampires, but we know this because I know this because I've read A Dowry of Blood. However, like I said, it's just not really a memorable story. It's not really doing what it set out to do, really, or what it claimed it was going to do. I also don't really love the writing as much as I did A Dowry of Blood. It feels like it's trying, you know? But, you know, it's not terrible. It's not the worst thing I've ever read. You ever, all of my fellow, like, content creators or vloggers or whatever you do you frequently contemplate just scrapping everything? Like mid-sentence, you hear how stupid you sound and how nothing you say makes sense, and it feels like you're trying too hard to push content out there, that you're just saying things just to say them, and it's almost like, well, I won't say you don't believe what you're saying, but like there's not like, I don't know, it's not like you don't believe it, but it's just, or am I just really mentally ill?
We're only like a weekend, and if you get this vlog, it's going to be a miracle. Anyway, I'm going to go finish this book. But I figured since I made an effort. I tried. I'm up. I'm dressed. I look alright. Okay. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Let's get into the fit for a second. Hi. Before anything else, can we get a go birds in the chat? Let me not stretch my head out. If you hear a little sports ball in the background, the Eagles game just started. Go birds, go birds, go birds, go birds. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. So it's been a few days now since I finished an education in Malice, and I haven't talked about it, I haven't spoken about it, I haven't said a word about it. To be fair, I have been having a very difficult few weeks to a month. Okay. A very difficult few weeks. I have scrapped this video so many times within 12 days. If you get this vlog, it's going to be a miracle. Anyway, also happy birthday, Zayn Malik. And I'm finally kind of pushing through, persevering. Finally started my new antidepressants. Let's see how that works. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so who knows, if you're seeing this video right now, I made it, I persevered, I came out on top. Let's pray. Please God, please, please. Anyway, I finished an education in Malice, and initially I had no thoughts. If you follow me on TikTok, you saw you know, they go around, show me the first book you're reading in 2025, and I was like, I have thoughts. I was like, no, actually not a single thought, but I sat with it and I was able to write a few things down. So I'm going to share those thoughts in a brief moment of clarity and cohesiveness. Did you? I don't know. This book keeps opening up to my notes from Eclipse, and please. This year I do need to finish that reread, so I'm gonna have to read Breaking Dawn at some point. God be with me. I finished this on the 7th of January, obviously. So it's been 5 days. I said, unfortunately my expectations were way too high from A Dowry of Blood. I loved that book so much. I loved the prose and the poetry of it, and just assumed this would be more of the same. I just don't think it was, and I wonder just how much the opinions I had already heard influenced my reading experience. I wonder if I would have enjoyed this more if I went in totally blind. I will say that obsession is S.T. Gibson's bag, especially queer vampiric obsession. However, this book didn't do much of anything. Both POVs felt the same. I frequently had to double check to see who was narrating. The dark academia element past the first maybe quarter of the book was a complete afterthought. I found myself missing the poetry cohort, or whatever it was called. This book could have been set anywhere. That's how little the dark academia element really mattered. That's why I didn't finish my thoughts, but especially with this being a dark academia dedicated vlog, dedicated TBR, I really wanted more from the atmosphere, more from the, I don't know when that stopped recording, please. That's weird. Hold on, maybe I should check. It's actually so bizarre that it just cut off at the end of right before I noticed that it cut off, so I didn't
lose anything. I guess my camera was just like, wrap it up. You don't have anything else to say after that? I really don't. That was really all I wanted to say. It's unfortunate. I was really disappointed with this book. It just was lacking. It was just lacking. There was a lot of depth that was lacking. There was a lot of concepts of plans that it didn't really go anywhere. It didn't do anything, and I'm sad and I'm quite nervous. Please someone tell me that Evocation is even a smidge better, because every time St. Gibson puts out a book, I'm like, I want it, give it to me, I'm gonna eat it up. And I don't see that stopping, because the concepts, the premises are always yum. I don't know, I guess it's similar to how I felt about Ava Reid books. They're always hit or miss, but I'm always like, give me the next one, simply from the covers, truthfully.
Orphaned heiress Kitten Adana grew up far from the arcane society she was born into, where human bloodlines gain power through vampire companionship. When her sister June disappears, Kitten is convinced a vampire stole her, the very vampire bound to their family, the cruel yet captivating Suseño Sagad. To find June, Kitten must infiltrate the elite Uxley University, where she must survive living with Suseños, even as he does everything he can to drive her away. It doesn't matter that Suseños' wickedness speaks to Kitten's own violent nature and tempts her to surrender to a life of darkness. She must find her sister and kill Suseños at all costs. When a murder mirroring June's disappearance shakes Uxley, Kitten sinks further into the ruthless underworld of vampires. Risking her very soul, she discovers a centuries-old threat, and June could be at the center of it. To save her sister, Kitten must bring Uxley to its knees and either break free from the horrors of her own actions or embrace the dark entanglements of love and the blood it requires. This is Immortal Dark.
So, like I said, after I didn't say this. I said that I've been kind of really struggling lately. So after this book, I had a really bad couple of days where reading was impossible. I tried, and I would just stare at the page and feel like I was going to cry and then spiral into a panic attack. And once again, stated very, very loudly that I was not going to do this video. I think we got a touchdown. Go Birds! I wasn't going to do this video. I wasn't going to continue vlogging. I had ordered books from Barnes & Noble that I needed for this TBR. And because of the storm, the winter storm, what's her name? Blair? Miss Blair. Ms. Blair Waldorf, please, you're ruining things. Kind of threw off my plans. I wasn't able to go pick up the books when I wanted to, so it was put back, and then they were able to put them back on hold for me. But I was like, I don't really care. I didn't lose money, so I don't need to go pick them up. I did eventually go pick them up after I saw Wicked a second time and did sob through it again. My God, one of the highlights of this bad spiral was seeing Wicked again. And maybe that set me back on a positive track. I mean, the crying was a little bit cathartic. What was I saying? Okay, I did eventually get books. I mean, they're books that I wrote down to read this month. It was a matter of getting them, and I had to go through the Barnes & Noble process. I say that like it's such a hassle because usually like when I'm doing a themed vlog and I need books quick, I order through Amazon, which I need to get out of doing. And I need to utilize my Barnes & Noble membership more. It's just a train ride. And I get points when I spend money at the bookstore. Anyway, I got Catherine House and These Violent Delights, not to be confused with the Chloe Gong series. This one, I mean, this one especially is one of the first. I didn't know the author was Black. Oh, period. So I'm absolutely reading this month. Anyway, this is one of the dark academia books that you see listed. I see this one spoken about a little bit less in dark academia conversations and videos. I don't know why, because this kind of, from what I've gathered, kind of reeks of like obsession and sort of like, it feels like it could be wrapped up with the sort of like the Secret History type book, or the If We Were Villains, that type of codependency type situation. Kind of also, I feel like this book could be listed and it was like, if you like Saltburn, read these books. So I'm excited to read both of these, especially this one. My interest in this book has really jumped up in this very brief, quick moment. I got a third book from this shopping excursion. This one came in the mail. It wasn't available in my bookstore, so it shipped and arrived before these were ready for pickup. And this one's not on my TBR for this month, but it is a dark academia book, and it's a more recent book that I've heard incredible things about. People seem to be really loving this book at the moment. It's Blood Over Bright Haven by M.L. Wang, author of The Sword of Kaigan. Interesting. So I picked it up. Obviously it was half off also online. It was like $14, where it's usually almost $30. Oh, also because I had points when I picked it up, got both of these books for like $15. Bless the Lord. I don't really know much of what this book's about, except that the main character, what's it say? Our main character is, okay, it says like she's the first woman admitted to the high magistracy at the University of Magic's Industry. What is it that I was about to say though? I don't know. I don't remember what I was going to say. I don't remember what I know about this book. But I remember when I read the premise, I was like, absolutely, put in the cart. I need it. Thanks. And that a lot of people say that it's kind of like a life-changing book. And I'm like, sure, okay. All that being said, I have finally been able to read, to start reading more than a paragraph and then starting to cry, of Immortal Dark by Tigist Gurma. I love this book, y'all. I'm 144 pages in and I love this book. I love the atmosphere. This is giving what Miss Education and Malice should have been giving. I love this. This is already setting me up to be a found family book. I love it. I love the dynamics between Keaton and Sesenios. My enemies to lovers girlies, or enemies to I don't know where they're going, but I know where they're going, you know. Watch Tigist Sharply left turns. Anyway, my enemies to not enemies, girlies. This is it. Because these two are real enemies. There's such deep-rooted hatred. There's such animosity. There's such violence. What was that? No. I was scrolling the author's Instagram, trying to like make sure I was just assessing the vibes, you know? There's a post that's like what happens when you pair a girl that wants to die with a vampire that with like a love of life. Like, no, what was it? There was one about her wanting to die and one about her being like extremely depressed, and I'm like, you know what? What perfect timing, you know? What perfect timing. Keaton is so morally gray isn't even like really the proper it's not the proper word for her, because I guess it is, but at the same time she has such a single-minded, obsessive, somewhat destructive perception of morality and her need to eradicate anything outside of what she deems good or right. And she's so consumed by grief and hatred, and she's done some absolutely insane things. But I love her. I don't remember the point I was making, but this might be the first 5-star of the year. Please don't take a sharp turn and let me down. Please, I'm speaking so highly of you after the storm that I've been through. Please don't betray me. I need you. I need you, okay? And I picked this up because when I think I filmed this, I was reading like a chapter or so of the first 3 books that I had for my TBR. I loved the way the prologue read and I wanted more of it, but at the time I couldn't my brain wasn't accepting it, and Education of Malice was easier to read. I will give it that. It's very easy to read. It's very quick. Very that. But this is the Vampire Dark Academia book that I needed right now. And it wasted no time getting to the point. There hasn't been anything that feels, who am I, Whitney Rose? Feels like just filler, just fluff, just floating. I hope it keeps this up because I'm obsessed with it and I'm in love with it, and I might make it my whole new personality. God bless. I gotta go watch the game. I've been in here entirely too long. Editing this is gonna be tragic. I feel today I feel good. I feel hopeful. I feel motivated. On the flip side of that, today is Jordan Fisher's last day as Orpheus in Hadestown, and I'm unwell. There will never be another Orpheus like Jordan's Orpheus. He was born to play that role, and I'm very blessed and thankful that I got to experience it for my birthday. That has nothing to do with anything, but I wanted to say that. I wanted that to be out in the universe. Anyway, go Birds. Go Birds, go Birds. I want them to hear me 5 minutes away at Lincoln Financial. I actually don't know if today's a home game because I'm not out there.
fight that made me fall in love with you in the first place.
I thought you were dead.
So did I for a minute there, but now that I know the earth can't even hold me, I guess I'll just call the shadow and try again.
You could do that. Hell, you could even turn me evil again. But you will never win, because I'll never come back to you.
Phoebe.
You just don't get it, Cole, do you?
Can we get a little commotion? Can we get a little commotion for my first 5-star read of the year? Okay, I finished Immortal Dark a couple of days ago now, and I haven't stopped thinking about it, and that's a running theme from when I was reading the book, and even when I wasn't reading it, I was thinking about it. But I have to move on, so let's recap for a second, shall we? I also have to hurry because I am going to see Nosferatu. Let's see, I tried really hard to put my thoughts in order. Okay, whew, winded. When I read that a book is dark and bloody and violent, this is what I'm expecting. This is the Vampire Dark Academia that I deserve. This is the Vampire Dark Academia that I needed after an education in malice. Is that what that's called? And I can't believe I almost gave up on it. Shout out medication. Yes, I did take them. From open to close, this book was exhilarating. It was ruthless and vicious and so beautifully written. It feels like the perfect book for those who crave books following the villains. Our characters are absolutely monstrous and unhinged. 2 words. 2 words, Joe Roberts. 2 more words, Esther, whatever her last name is, from Orphan. And honestly, I ate it up. Ate it up. This is the first book I've read in a while where the enemies to whatever is what it claims it is. Kitten and Cicenios are giving what they need to have gave. The hatred, the loathing, unadulterated loathing, if you will, was so palpable And I wish this were an adult book because then I'd feel comfortable thirsting after Sustainios, who, while is a centuries old immortal vampire, was also turned at 19. So the gloomy gothic atmosphere was its own character, and Uxley is somewhere I definitely would like to be, sort of, kind of. Depends on the situation, depends on who I am in this situation. Also, I absolutely adore that I got a black-led dark academia where the conflict wasn't racism. It was actually honestly really, really refreshing, and I need book 2 immediately, right now, in my hands. So like I said, I have to rush out now. Actually, I have to leave right now. Today is the first of our monthly Amber dates, and because of the weather, it was kind of thrown off a bit. So everything I was going to do before the movie, I'm not doing, but I will still be taking my next read with me. I've decided on Catherine House because I just realized that it takes place in Pennsylvania. Rural Pennsylvania, but home state nonetheless, you know? So I have to go.
Catherine House is a school of higher learning like no other. Hidden deep in the woods of rural Pennsylvania, this crucible of reformist liberal arts study has produced some of the world's best minds. For those lucky few selected, tuition is free, but acceptance comes with a price. Students must give Catherine 3 years completely removed from the outside world. Family, friends, television, music, even their personal clothing must be left behind. In return, the school promises its graduates a future of sublime power and prestige. Among this year's incoming class is Inez, who expects to trade her blurry teenage nights of parties, pills, and cruel friends for rigorous intellectual discipline, only to discover an environment of sanctioned revelry. Even the school's enigmatic director, Victoria, encourages the students to explore their minds and bodies, to find themselves and their place behind the formidable iron gates of Catherine. For Inez, the house is the closest thing to a home she's ever had, but its strange protocols soon make this refuge feel like a lavish prison. And when tragedy strikes, Inez begins to suspect that the school might be hiding a dangerous agenda within the secretive group of students studying its most mysterious curriculum. This is Catherine House.
Of course it's snowing. Of course it is. She's finished. I just finished weaving in all the remaining little ends, but here she is. She's very wonky and a little ugly, but like in that type of ugly that a mother can love. I don't know, she's a little wonky, but I love her. I worked really hard on this pattern that I used. Made me feel really stupid, but I think it's just the wording of the pattern itself was hard to comprehend, hard to understand. But for my first attempt at granny squares, it's not the worst it could be. I think it could use another little bit of blocking, I don't know how much it'll help because I know a lot of the puckling is due to squares themselves being uneven and me having to finagle to really jigsaw puzzle them in to fit. Here she is on. I didn't really intend to match it with my shirt, but perfect. I have a few pictures, I'll insert them here, of what it looks like right now. You might see me again after I've blocked it a bit again. I'm thinking of doing another like segment, more like the tie, like a thick row of like double crochets, and just attaching it at the top because the uneven black edging is kind of irritating me a little bit. But one project down off the to-do list. Another thing I want to talk about, kind of in the same vein, I got mail. I got very special mail that flew a very long way to get to me. Was it December? It must have been around Christmas time. Herbawi, which is the textile, basically factory, the Kafia textile factory in Ramallah, I believe. It's like the last one in Palestine. Herbawi had a new drop of Kafias, and I've been wanting one from them so long. I've been wanting a Kafia made in Palestine in my hands for over a year. I ordered two. I ordered one for me and one for my mom. I had to do separate orders because you can only order one per order, which is really sensible, so more people have access to them and people won't be buying them up. But so I had to order one for me and one for my mom. This is technically the one I bought for my mom, but let's be so real, I'm gonna be wearing it too. This has traveled a very long way to get to me, from Palestine to Portugal, and then from Portugal to Pennsylvania. And there was a minor crisis this afternoon, when I went to check all my tracking because I have multiple packages coming. So one of the first things I do every day is check what's coming in the mail, check my tracking links and whatever. And when I followed this one, because the actual tracking from Portugal is confusing, so I just put the tracking number into Google, and I saw that it was coming USPS. I was like, huh, didn't know that. And not only that, but that it had allegedly been delivered yesterday. Mind you, I was out all day yesterday, so I'm like, Mommy, did I get a package? So she's like, no, I checked the mail like right after you left. I was like, oh, okay. Here's the issue, and this is why this almost ended up really bad. There's currently like a string of package thefts going on in this building. A lot of my other neighbors have been complaining about their packages going missing, and I just felt the rage rising up in my body, because I'm like, if these people think they are going to steal my package that I've been waiting for so long, that came to me from Palestine, I am going to be the villain. I am going to do something so drastic. I'm going to go like my villain era. I thought my villain arc starting, but my mom went and checked again, and between the time, I guess maybe the delivery person came back or something, which they sometimes do, they'll bring the packages separately from like the regular mail, and it was in my mailbox. I feel so much better, so I'm gonna open it. I want to be careful because, you know, I'm gonna keep a lot of the packaging because I'm a scrapbook girly. Oh, there's a note. You are holding a keffiyeh made by Herbawi, the last and only keffiyeh manufacturer in Palestine. With your purchase, you are contributing to keeping our factory running its production and preserving a Palestinian tradition and a national symbol. Made with love in Palestine. Technically, I know I should be letting my mom open this, but she'll understand. Oh, it feels so good. It feels so nice. Oh, this is beautiful. Oh my god, this is beautiful. Amber, please, please learn how to open. Woo! Oh, I love it. I'm gonna try to fold it the way it was so my mom can like experience it. Hopefully mine will be here in the next couple of days. They didn't ship together, which is fine and understandable. I know there were a lot of orders that came in. Almost all of them sold out within minutes, so I'm just really thankful to have gotten them. Yay! Well, I'm here. I'm sorry if this tilts over. I have to figure out what's wrong with this tripod. Anyway, while I'm here, I'm whispering. Sorry if this just went crooked because I got another package, and this is technically a gift. This is one of two, I think, and by the time this goes up, the gifts will be given, so I'm going to show you this. All right, packaging. All right, packaging. Oh man, I don't. Oh god, okay. No, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at it now. I want to wait until I present them so we can all look at this together. So I got one for my mom and me and for Dwayne. And I want to do like, I want us all to meet for lunch or something. I have to wait for, I'm waiting for the other one to come. I want us to all get together and so we can like experience it together. This is so lovely. And this is one of those period. Those photo books that they advertise on Instagram. Who comes this way? You don't come yet. Tuck that away. There's so many like companies that do these type of like memory books on Instagram. I just picked one. I think I was watching Zoe's Vlogmas, and she does like a lot of them for birthdays and holidays, and she was showing off the one she did for her daughter's birthday or whatever, trips and whatever, and I think she had a sponsorship with mom, and I did go to look at that website, but this one, Artifact Uprising, popped up in my ads, and I clicked that one. I just like liked what I saw and just put this together. Worked really hard on probably choosing what the structure of the pages and like what pictures were on like pages. So from what I've seen, I'm obsessed. So I hope Dwayne's comes soon so I can like give them soon. Okay, I am 56 pages into Catherine House, and I feel like I'm reading gibberish. I feel like I'm just reading gibberish. Nothing's happening. Right now, that is the entire plot of the story. Nothing happens at Catherine. Inez is just spending her days drinking, hooking up, not going to class. That's all I really know. Her roommate's weird. But like, something about the writing style, it might be intentional, I don't know, makes me feel like my brain is jello. It also makes me feel like I'm reading an early reader's chapter book. I don't remember what the general consensus of this book is. I don't like reading reviews while I'm reading the book, because sometimes that either will set me up and I won't enjoy a book, like if it isn't the most loved book, because if it has some reviews that aren't great, or if I read a review, even if it is a great book, if I read like a critical review, I'll be anticipating the things talked about. But I just kind of want to understand like the general thought of this book. And I also think I might listen to the sample of the audiobook. Maybe that'll help me. But maybe it's me. I like to think it's me. I like to think maybe I should have waited a day after my outside activities to try to like really read. I did read yesterday, and I was enjoying the book yesterday when I was reading it. The first 20 pages were great, you know? Good. They were good. Okay. So the first review that I see is by someone named Kat. Unfortunately, they gave a 2-star, but this is definitely how I'm feeling right now. Jesus. I honestly wish I had any semblance of a strong opinion about this story, especially because, okay, blah, 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 but I'm incredibly neutral about the whole thing. It says, they say, none of the characters grabbed me. The mystery, there's a mystery? There's a mystery? I know that I'm really early in the book, but let's do something here, you know? And right under it is Cindy. With Cindy, formerly reads with Cindy, and Cindy. Okay. This book would be enjoyed by people who like atmospheric gothic stories, me, and who are okay with there not being any plot progressing forward. Not me. And that's what I feel. Nothing's going on. We're not going anywhere. I just feel like we're in a loop, and I'm really very early in the book. So if it doesn't get better, but I don't want to DNF it. I know I said I'm going to get better with DNFing books and allow myself to DNF books, but I'm not there yet. I'm going to be so real. So maybe the audiobook, I'll just listen to it. That way I will have said that I completed the book. It doesn't seek to answer questions or resolve mysteries. The main character, okay, I'm not going to keep reading because there are things that might spoil it doesn't spoil anything in the plot because apparently there is no plot, but great, cool. Drowsy sense of feeling, that's literally it. That's it, Cindy. It's frustrating because I would love to put the book down for the day. I have a goal that I'd like to hit, and I'm nowhere near it, and I don't even care. My brain's like off, flickering off to like what I could be doing instead. I'm gonna take a break, and then I'm gonna take an actual break, not like a 5-minute break I take in between sprints.
William Morrow and Harper Audio present Catherine House, a novel by Elizabeth Thomas, performed by Inez del Castillo. Year 1. Billie Jean. I ran a hand over my stomach. I was going to be sick. The back of my throat tasted like sour wine, and my ears rang with the echoes of a party. A smutty, fucked up bass line reverberating through the floor. Girls, a lot of them, slurring and yelping.
That scared me.
Oh my goodness. That was so magnificent. Oh my goodness.
Go birds.
And the thing about it, he slowed down because he didn't realize the guy was on him. So he crossed it and he still pushed him out. They had this thing about pushing. I'm going to punch somebody in their face.
I just realized I'm filming that whole time.
He keeps missing sessions and feasts. He barely eats and drinks. He's fucking miserable, and he's just getting started. I sat up. Please, Nick said. He's not miserable, he loves it. He patted Anna's head. The new braid didn't look any better than the first. Don't be jealous. I know you were rejected from the concentration.
So in that brief breath when we were all duped into thinking TikTok was kaputs, I rushed to get some things from my cart from the Amazon shop. Also ignore my hair. I'm gonna try it out. It's here. And I don't regret a thing. I don't regret a thing. When Paul enters university in early 1970s Pittsburgh, it's with the hope of moving past the recent death of his father. Sensitive, insecure, and incomprehensible to his grieving family, Paul feels isolated and alone. So when he meets the worldly Julian, Paul is immediately drawn to his classmate's effortless charm. Paul sees Julian as his sole intellectual equal, an ally against a suffocating conventional world. Paul will stop at nothing to prove himself worthy of their friendship, because with Julian, life is more invigorating than Paul could ever have imagined. But as charismatic as he can choose to be, Julian is also volatile and capriciously cruel, and Paul becomes increasingly afraid that he will never live up to what Julian expects of him. As their friendship spirals into all-consuming intimacy, they each learn the lengths to which the other will go to stay together. An obsession that hurtles them toward an act of irrevocable violence. Unfolding with a propulsive ferocity, these violent delights is an exquisitely plotted excavation of the depths of human desire and the darkness it can bring forth in us. This is These Violent Delights.
try it the other way too.
Yeah, thank you for bringing it back to me.
See, I think this one gets more stuck. That's why I want to scoot.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, I think it's already recording. Yep.
And through. The Eagles have 55 on the points.
I know that's right.
3:03 to go.
Organization understands all the things that come along with winning this game. It's a championship. I know the final. You got every aunt and uncle you talked about in your family.
Let's go!
In a thriller a couple years ago now. See if they can get it done against whoever wins. The Bills or the Chiefs coming up. Washington, what a turnaround for them. Dan Quinn had a team that won 4 games last year.
Oh, sorry, Bookie. Oh, no.
And this has been an unbelievable
ability to pass the football tonight. Really
59, 57, 56, 55, 54, 53, 52, 51. Okay, 49, 48, 47, 46, 45. I'm not going to count the whole time. I'll be back at like New Year's.
That's it.
Let's go! Oh, they're playing it. On the road to victory. Fight, fight, fight.
They're hugging each other.
Eagles advance their 5th Super Bowl appearance. Looking for their 2nd win. Let's go downstairs to Aaron Andrews with Saquon.
Look at the mayor. Is that the mayor? Yeah, that is her.
Why y'all screaming?
You told me this season hasn't felt real. How does this feel, Saquon?
I ain't gonna lie, I tried to downplay it in my head.
All right, let's catch up a little bit. Catherine House. Before I say anything else about this book, I do want to give the audiobook narrator a huge shout out, Inez Del Castillo. Her narration was actually everything. It made the experience of this book so much more immersive, so much more palatable, and the talent that she exuded with each character and her dedication to the craft and making sure each character had their own voice, their personality really was emphasized. Yeah, that's the word, emphasized, as she told this story, helped me so much. That being said, the excellence of Inez cannot take away that this book was basically a colossal waste of my time. Now, it wasn't bad per se, because like I said, the audiobook really changed everything for me, and I just really enjoyed the way the story was told to me. It was, like I said, a lot easier, a lot more enjoyable to experience. But I don't understand the point, especially when we get, there's no sort of closure to anything, or like, I don't need it all wrapped up in a bow type closure, but I need the plot lines, the plot points to make sense and have a purpose. We have this whole mystery going, and yeah, we get told basically what's going on, but at the same time, not really. Not really. There's so much that happens within, not so much, because actually there's not a lot that happens in this book at all. It is a very stagnant story on its own, but there are a lot of points that I guess were thrown in to an attempt to make the plot more interesting, more dark or mysterious or creepy, I guess. And one, it was none of those things for me, truthfully. I can see, can I see where it could be creepy? I can see where it's trying to be creepy. I can see where the basis of creepiness could have been. Inez, not our narrator, our main character, I don't know, I found her a difficult protagonist because she just floats through the story. She is so disengaged and kind of dissociated through the entirety of the story, and like, I am detached and dissociated enough, you know? So like, I'm struggling to focus on a story that you are doing nothing, feeling nothing, not really experiencing anything in. Does that make sense? I don't care. I don't care. I feel like my time was wasted. Also, I can't remember why the end irritated me, but the end irritated me. I've also finished These Violent Delights. I don't know if I filmed any sort of clip while I was reading this. I'm sure in editing I will have read the synopsis. This book basically follows two teenage boys, Paul and Julian, who meet in college. They are both very clever, very smart, and they connect because they're basically like, no one else is on our level. No one is as smart as us. No one sees things the way they truly are, the way we do. And the story, I mean, the story is one of obsession, of toxic, manipulative, uncomfortable relationships, codependency. It just spirals out of control. I mean, the prologue starts, this isn't a spoiler because it's the prologue, it starts with them committing a murder, and the rest of the story is like what leads up to that point. And the purpose of everything that they do is just, hello? I don't know if I would necessarily consider this to be a dark academia. I guess it is because they meet in college. They are, I almost said co-students. What is it? They meet in college and they're like in class together and whatever. And that's the kind of the catalyst of all this. A lot of it doesn't really take place in an academic setting. I guess it's just like an undercurrent of their story. I don't know how I feel about this book to really review it or properly discuss it or rate it in any sort of way. My brain is still kind of like, trying to form, it's trying to put it's trying to form something. Like I said, our main characters are obsessive and codependent and volatile, violent, and just, they both need a ton of therapy, perhaps some medication. It takes place in the 70s, so it does talk a lot about both of these characters, kind of in their queerness alongside their homophobic families and their fight for what they need for themselves, the life that they dream of together, apart, whatever. The writing, while very beautiful, is also it feels kind of pretentious at times, but what do you expect with this type of book, you know? So yeah, I don't know. Would I read this again? I was gonna say I might read this again. I don't know. This was also an audiobook read, which also really helped. It helped because I wasn't reading it in the voice I needed to be reading it in. Obviously, it was almost clinical the way my brain was reading the book and receiving the information. So the audiobook was really what I needed to get through the story, much like Catherine House. It did make it more interesting, probably because it was so immersive. I was really able to like, anyway, I personally feel like the books this time around are not hitting the way round one's books did. The only one I've loved so far has been, or really felt anything about, has been Immortal Dark. There's still time for that to change a little bit because I am trying my hardest, my darndest, where's the book, to start Pure Nessie. This was the book I was supposed to read first at the beginning of this month, and I'm still putting it off. I've tried to read the first page so many times. I want to read this book so bad. I want to love this book so bad, but my brain is not letting me do it. Most likely, this will be another audiobook experience. The audiobook is narrated by Chiwetel Ejiofor, so that's really promising, honestly. And just from the sample that I listened to, I'm like, oh, I could kind of listen to this. Problem that I've just discovered is, at least this month, my experience with audiobooks is I need something to be doing with my hands while I'm listening so I can focus. Like for the other two books, I've been knitting or crocheting while listening, so I am kind of grounded in the moment and focused on my hands are moving. My brain is kind of like doing that, so it's also kind of like automatically forced to listen to the book. I don't have any yarn or anything to work on right now, so I don't know how this is going to work attention wise, and I have 4 days to finish this book. It's very short, so if I can get connected to the story very quickly, I can do it, but I'm nervous and I don't want to. I'm so scared that I'm not going to love this book, because I want to love this book. I want to love this book. So many people love this book, and maybe I'm just getting burnt out, one in general, and also like with the dark academia vibes, which is not, I feel like I don't know how my future of themed reading and planned themed TBRs are gonna go, which is interesting, because I have 2 definite ones that I want to do this year. In March, I'm doing a Hosier vlog, and then in, I don't know, sometime in the summer, I'm going to do a Sylvia Moreno Garcia vlog. I've been almost talking for 15 minutes. So I gotta go. Please, God, I gotta read this book. Piranesi's house is no ordinary building. Its rooms are infinite, its corridors endless. Its walls are lined with thousands upon thousands of statues, each one different from all the others. Within the labyrinth of halls, an ocean is imprisoned. Waves thunder up staircases, rooms are flooded in an instant. But Piranesi is not afraid. He understands the tides as he understands the pattern of the labyrinth itself. He lives to explore the house. There is one other person in the house, a man called the Other, who visits Piranesi twice a week and asks for help with research into a great and secret knowledge. But as Piranesi explores, evidence emerges of another person, and a terrible truth begins to unravel, revealing a world beyond the one Piranesi has always known. This is Piranesi.
And personally, continued the Other, I think that this search is so important, so absolutely vital, that I have to keep going, no matter what. I don't have any choice. If your decision is to stop me, well, in that case, I suppose we'd no longer be colleagues. Our meetings on Tuesdays and Fridays, we'd no longer have them, because what would be the point? I'd be pursuing my researches and you'd be off, he gestured vaguely, doing whatever it is that you do. This isn't what I want, of course. Let me be very clear about that. But it is the way things would have to be. So that's the second reason. Oh, I said.
This is such an unflattering angle. Okay. Starting the audiobook for Piranesi was definitely absolutely the right choice. I don't know why. I can't believe I was so intimidated by this book. I have like 2 hours left of it. And that was, all in one. I started it yesterday, the day before yesterday. I am loving Chiwetel's narration. Unrelated, but kind of related. I've noticed that he and Reggae Jean Page have very similar speaking voices. There's like a tone in there. So if Reggae wanted to like stop making action movies that, I was gonna say something mean, he could really get into audiobooks, and I'd really be into that. What was I gonna say? The book starts book opens with a quote from The Magician's Nephew, and I think that's so perfect because this book really feels like I am reading a Narnia book, which is another point in its favor. I'm really loving that vibe. It is taking a turn. I have a feeling I know where it's going, but I'm enjoying the journey to this discovery and Piranesi's evolution, I'll say. Meanwhile, I made my first bucket hat and I am obsessed with it. That's what I got up to while listening to this book. I just have to, I think I'm gonna add like little seeds for my watermelon hat. And because I still have 2 hours left, I've started a second one. I have this nice Eagles green here, and we are headed to the Super Bowl in 12 days, 11 days. So I gotta be prepared. Go Birds! Go Birds! So I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna work on my hat, I'm gonna finish this book, and I will talk to you when both of those things are finished. Go Birds. What an odd little book. What an odd little book. I finished Piranesi many days ago now. Piranesi. I finished Piranesi many days ago now. I'm so glad that I chose the audiobook route. I absolutely loved Chiwetel Ejiofor as our narrator. I think I said all of this already. There's not much that there's not much to be said aside from what I've already said in any clips where I've talked about this, because there's not much I can really say about this book, because this is the type of book that is better to go in without really knowing anything about it. And I am so glad that I experienced this with whilst knowing the bare minimum, the bare bones of the plot. I will say that I mentioned this before. If you are a Narnia fan, if you love books like that, you will really enjoy this. There is that like sort of whimsical, magical writing style. I feel like Susanna Clarke really did take inspiration from C.S. Lewis and authors like that. Yeah, I quickly sort of figured out what was going on, but that didn't really impact my enjoyment or experience reading the book. And I'm so glad that I can finally cross off my TBR. I finally got into it. I finally accomplished something. I would definitely read another Susanna Clarke book. I think, is she the author of, no, she's not the author of Vita Nostra, is she? But she is the author of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which I think is also considered a dark academia. So if I ever do a part 3, who knows? And that was the last book of this journey, this TBR. I got through this TBR relatively easily. God bless audiobooks. Thank God for audiobooks, because like I mentioned before, there was a moment where I think I was getting burnt out from this genre and reading all books with like similar vibes. To wrap up this vlog and these books, my favorite book out of this stack, out of this TBR, was absolutely obviously Immortal Dark. That book is everything. That book is everything, and if you don't like it, I don't trust you. If you don't like it, I don't trust you. If you claim you like dark academia, if you claim you're into vampires, and you don't like it, I don't like you. I meant to say I don't trust you, but I also don't like you. It was dark. It was gruesome. It was violent. It was... Give me book 2. Now. Thank you. As far as... Oh, I thought you were about to sneeze. As far as the books that fit the dark academia vibe, the best, Immortal Dark. Again, like I said, probably... As far as dark academia vibe, probably Catherine House also. So much of it revolves around
the academia part of the dark academia. And I mean, and it's so immersed in the academy and what the academy is putting its students through. It's not as dark as it could have been, I'll say. As far as like a darkness, aside from Immortal Dark, absolutely these violent delights. That book was bizarre. That book was wild. Okay. I feel like I'm gonna need to read that again further down the line to really I don't know, experience. Because it was wild and it was bizarre. But like I said, there was a sort of detachment reading it. Anywho, so final ranking, Immortal Dark. What did I read this one? Probably Pure Nancy, These Violent Delights, Catherine House, and Education and Malice. Notice I didn't have anything to say about that book. So that was Dark Academia Part 2. I did it. I will say I enjoyed the books in Part 1 a little bit more, like more consistently. But this was still a fun time. This was still a vibe. I'd do it again, maybe. I keep saying I need to stop, to take a break from themed vlogs because I stress myself out and there's a lot of pressure that I put on myself, but I'd still do it again. I'd like to do a vlog, a themed Dark Academia vlog when I'm in Scotland, like in Edinburgh. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you like this video, let me know in the comments what your favorite what your favorite Dark Academia book is. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like me, feel free to subscribe. All my places are down below so you can follow me and I'll follow you back. And I'll see you very soon. Bye.